The first time Agnes heard it, she thought it was the wind under the bridge. It came late, long after the hearth coals had collapsed into their last red breath. A low groan, drawn out, almost like wood under strain. But the wind that night was still. Too still. Agnes had been the keeper of the toll house for 16 years. Every evening, she lit the iron lamp at the far post, the one meant to guide those crossing after dark. Not that many ever came. The bridge had fallen out of use decades ago. Folk said the road beyond had washed out in a spring flood, and the villages on the other side were abandoned soon after. Yet her orders had been clear: keep the toll house, keep the lamp lit, keep watch. It was honest work, and quiet. Most nights, she heard nothing beyond the scratch of her pen as she tallied her ledgers, the soft hiss of the lamp oil, the settling sigh of the old timber frame around her. But on the 12th night of that October, she heard the groan again. Not wind. Not quite wood. It came from the far side of the bridge. The toll house window faced east, toward the stretch of weathered planks that disappeared into the dark. The lamp's glow reached only halfway across, the rest was swallowed in shadow. Agnes stood there for a long while, listening. The groan came again, low, slow, the sound of something shifting its weight. She told herself it was the bridge settling in the cold. Still, she checked the ledger for the day. No crossings. No entries since midsummer. She closed the shutters and sat back at the table, though she found herself glancing toward the door more often than before. The next night, she heard it again. This time, the sound came earlier, before the moon had even risen. A long creak, then a pause, then another, as though someone, or something, was testing each plank, one by one. She leaned out the door with her lamp, but the far end was lost in darkness. The air had that damp, metallic smell that comes before rain, though no rain came. By the third night, Agnes stopped pretending it was the wind. The sounds had grown steadier, more deliberate. Sometimes a groan, sometimes a sharp crack, as if a boot heel had struck a loose board. She began to dread the hours after sunset, when the mist from the river would rise to wrap around the bridge, and the sounds would come slow, patient, never hurried. Always stopping before they reached her half. She thought of crossing, of meeting whatever was out there. But she had never set foot beyond the midpoint in all her years here. When she first arrived, the old tollkeeper had warned her, "You light the lamp, you keep your post, you don't go over." He'd been a man with a voice like split oak, not given to foolish talk. She had not asked him why. The fourth night, she woke before dawn to silence. The mist was thick, the lamp nearly guttered. On the far side of the bridge, she thought she saw movement, just a darker patch in the dark, swaying slightly. But when she fetched the spyglass, there was nothing there. No tracks, no disturbance, just the board slick with dew. On the fifth night, she did not light the lamp until the last possible moment. Her fingers shook as she worked the flint. The flame bloomed, yellow and trembling, and the light spilled across the planks. There, just beyond the edge of its reach, stood a figure. Tall, still, turned slightly away, as though it had been caught mid-step. She could see no face. No hands. Only the shape, the faintest glint of wetness where the shoulders should be. Her breath caught, but she held her ground. The figure did not move. Then, as the fog curled in thicker, it simply was not there. The sixth night, she heard nothing at all. The seventh, the same. A strange relief settled over her, though it did not bring ease. The bridge lay quiet in the frost, the river beneath whispering over stone. It was on the eighth night that she made her mistake. She had risen in the small hours for water, and as she passed the window, she saw it again, closer this time, at the very edge of the lamplight. Something about the tilt of its head, the way it stood just so, unshaken by the windless cold, made her open the door before she'd thought to stop herself. The boards underfoot felt soft with rot as she stepped onto the bridge. Her lamp threw her shadow long and thin ahead of her. The figure remained still, as though waiting. Her boots found the midpoint, and she hesitated. The old tollkeeper's words came back to her, rough and unbidden, "You don't go over." She lifted the lamp higher. The figure's head turned, slowly, almost lazily, toward her. The wetness on its shoulders slid down in narrow lines, catching the light like threads. Her mouth went dry. The air between them smelled of riverweed and something older, something sour. Agnes took one step back. The figure shifted forward. The creak beneath its weight was deep, shuddering through the planks like a pulse. She turned, walking quickly back toward the toll house, her lamp swaying wildly. The sound followed: step, creak, pause. Step, creak, pause. Never faster, never slower. She reached her door and slammed it shut, bracing it with her shoulder. The steps stopped. Silence pressed in so thick she could hear her own heartbeat. When she dared to look through the shutter, the bridge was empty. The lamp's glow touched only still boards and mist. Agnes kept her post for another 12 years. She never crossed again. And no one, in all that time, set foot on the far side. Not once. Not in 40 years.